Hey guys, my name is Ron Perry, and I just would like to welcome you back to another video on just another scale modeler video. Does that make sense? I don't know. I have no idea. As usual, I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters for helping me to stay active and have the right tools to be able to make these models for you as nice as I can. Our newest Patreon supporter is Gare de Gill. He came on just in the last week with the $10 support, and I think that's very awesome because I can get better supplies and be able to get into doing things like I want to get into, uh, like rolling stock, weathering the small cars and stuff like that. Pretty soon I'm going to be making some videos on how to weather. I have to get through a couple of my own because I know how to do it. I just haven't done it a lot. I also have to get my airbrush out and clean that out nice and get to figuring that out again because I didn't spend too much time on that in the last 15 whatever years we've been doing this. So today we're working on part 2 of the Michigan Central Station in St. Thomas, also commonly referred to as the CASO Station. I built this kit once for Sparky a few years back, and you can see it on his layout on the regular. It's a 4-foot long kit. It's big, it's massive, and this time we are building it a little differently by making it a background flat, making half the building. The client, has, as with all of us, has limited space, real estate to put our models. So making this into a background flat adds, a good 6 inches to 5 to 6 inches to his layout, which is a lot in HO scale. So let's get into it. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, please go to patreon.com/Ron Perry and become a part of the gang, because that really helps out. Really helps out. This month I was able to get dull coat and brushes and turpentine and stuff to clean out the airbrush. So each month I'll be making a purchase like that because of the very generous supporters that I have over at patreon.com. I don't get any money from YouTube, and this is my only source of income from the channel, other than to build these kits. And pretty soon we're going to be building kits that don't have owners for them yet, so we're going to put them up on Patreon for sale. So that's another benefit of Patreon right there. I want to thank you for watching, and today we're going to be continuing with the project by adding some orange to our walls to bring up the definition of our red color on the kit, and also adding more mortar lines. So stay tuned, we'll get right into it. So one thing I failed to state in the first video was that adding these mortar lines will take a couple of coats, as well as the brick coloring will take a couple of coats too, with varying colors. The reason for this being is that we have a variation in colors that happens on every structure, every uh, engine and piece of rolling stock, everything you see out there has a varying degree of degradation. Or maybe in the terms of a brick wall, varying degrees of different colored bricks. And by adding these various layers, we can add that variation as well as compensate for the weakness of the the mortar wash. See, the mortar wash could be made stronger. However, the problem is you get into a varying degree of usefulness. The more paint you add, it adds more paint to the face of the brick, which then lightens the color of the red that you've already applied. Kind of adds a fade effect that you see in rolling stock weathering. You're adding a fade to your brick. Basically, the more paint you add to the mortar, the more glycerin and water you add to it. One thing dilutes the white, but also gives it the chance to slide off of the face of the brick and fall into the grooves of the mortar etchings where you want your mortar to be. It's now time to check out the fit of the kit to make sure everything's working. At this point, I don't want to move any farther without having all my solutions laid out for the discrepancies. And this isn't a production kit, really. What this is a kit that was designed for a museum, a limited run kit, and there were only so many made, under 10, and having built more than one, I know that there are one or two. I know where the ghosts lie usually in these kits, in the early kits, not the latest ones that are coming out by ITLA. I really have no affiliation with them anymore, unfortunately. So what I'm doing, like I said, is checking the fit and finish of the kit and making sure that our platform is glued together properly. Now that I've got the sections put together on the bases, I want to glue the base sections together with what will amount to be 16-foot maybe railroad ties. I'm pretty sure that they'll be as big as railroad ties, what I'm putting in, so I might have to color them to be railroad ties while the rest of it's concrete. I haven't really gotten that far, but what I want to do is glue the base together so that I'm ready for when the wall is finished. When the walls are finished, I want to be able to throw them right on the base and have everything fit perfectly. So if I take care of that now, there won't be any surprises later. Just a been there, done that kind of thing. So I'm gonna take these railroad ties. I'm going to make them 16 feet long in the end. The pieces that I'm cutting are much longer than 16 feet, but they will be able to be like I'd be able to take a knife and make them look like 16-foot lengths in the end. I just wanted to hold the front of the structure base and glue them together and have a physical tie that takes these sections and puts them together. On the back, this is only going to be wrapped around the front. On the back, I'm going to do the same type of ties, but they're going to allow for a back plate to be placed above or just beside them. Moving on, we want to glue our whole wall together now. So I'm just using crazy glue to do this. As it's such a long wall, it's going to be really stable once I get the rest of the boards on the inside. So using crazy glue will work wonders for section like this, making it so that I can just move on to the next step without wasting any time. I used Eileen's tacky glue to place down glue where I'm going to put the pilasters, and place down the pilasters, and sometimes I'm going to use crazy glue to quicken up the process of holding these pilasters down, because it could tie up a lot of time. I don't really have a lot of weights kicking around. If the more weights I would have had, the more I would have been able to just use Eileen's tacky glue for this whole process. But not having the weights made it so I had to use crazy glue to speed up the process. Moving on, like I said before, each layer of mortar we put on adds a little bit of haze to the brick, and that we have to counteract by painting the brick again, adding layers upon layers, so that the mortar and the bricks look, on one hand, more varied, and then on the other hand, also more defined. I'm going to be painting orange raw sienna, which is more of an orange than a red, and I'm going to be putting this over the bricks, not 100%, but let's say 80% coverage, and I'm going to be using full strength paint, so this isn't going to be a wash or anything like that. However, it's going to blend in with the red, so that we start to get the more finished color that I wanted to have in the end. Because during the 1980s, the building was more dilapidated. The porch roof had been pulled off, and the bottom part of the wall had been shown to be a more orangey brick because of its protection from the elements over the years that the porch roof was on. And then there's a clear defined tar line along the top of the brick, the horizontal brick pilaster that runs along the entire building. Those are features that I'll all want to get into this paint, and starting off red and then building the orange on top of it will add a variation to this building that gives it a little bit more realism. So on this layer, I'm going to add the orange. The next layers, I'm going to add another application of the mortar, and this goes throughout the entire wall, just like the orange, just like the other colors, because we want our color to be consistent all the way through the building. We want to do this in one session. We don't want to do this in multiple sessions, because if you do it that way, you will notice the where the different sessions lie, and it breaks the continuity of the building, which is a big no-no to me. So I use my mortar mix with a brush that is kind of just a loose hair brush that holds a lot of liquid. It'll really draw it up into the brush. I know I failed to say this earlier, but putting the brick on, I use a square brush with some firm brush, with a firm brush on the end, so that when I'm painting the brick, it's not really falling into the etched lines. It's trying to stay on top with the other brush hairs to just paint the brick face. This brush holds a lot of liquid, so that when I touch the brick, it'll let go of that liquid to fall into the etched lines. Two very different brushes for each technique are used. But yeah, red rattle can, followed by orange painting, and then followed by the mortar lines. So I know I said this earlier, but the reason why there are no pilaster portions up on the top of the wall is because the mortar draws up around them and adds a white haze, and I don't want that to happen on the walls as much as I can. So I left them off the top wall, more specifically so that they could stay more red as time went on. I'm going to put the orange on after the effect, and put them on right soon. Now, when I add these pillars, like before, I want to have that strong bond of a weld bond, or the Eileen's tacky glue. I think this time I use weld bond. I usually save my weld bond for windows and spots where you can see it, because sometimes you can find the other glues cheaper and easier than you can find the weld bond. So I kind of save it for the places where it really shines. Like window panes, or close to windows and stuff like that. I can't think. Water, around water and stuff like that. Lots of things you can use it for, but I just like to save it for the more specific moments. This time I guess I got lazy. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my weld bond on the tops and the bottoms of the wall where the pilasters are going to go. However, I'm leaving the very top of the pilasters without glue, because I want to cut them off later. We'll get to that later. But right now I'm going to applying glue to the top and the bottom of the pilaster, and adding crazy glue to the very middle, because they're cupped up, just like the bottom pilasters that I added earlier. Now I'm doing this because when I push the pilaster down, the crazy glue hits the wood and dries almost instantly, taking the bend out of the pilaster itself, and then also allowing the weld bond to dry. One of the benefits of weld bond that maybe other glues don't have, I think Eileen's tacky glue does have a similar property, But Weld Bond dries super quickly. Like, I've never seen a glue dry as quick as Weld Bond does. And I can work much faster than normal with Weld Bond than I can with a lot of other glues. Like, it's consistent, production style and stuff like that. Like, it's always thick, it's always ready to go. Whereas some other glues are sometimes really thin, got a lot of water, and take a long time to dry and cure. So as I add these pilasters to the wall, I'm making sure that I'm keeping the glue from the top of the wall, because I have to add decorative portion to that section after. So just a demonstration. You can see the top and the bottom, and adding the crazy glue to the middle. Now, something that I failed to add earlier was that by doing this, adding glue to the back of the pilasters gave the opportunity for the glue to squeeze out the sides of the pilaster. And this, is something that I don't want happen. So what I have to do to fix this problem is to, shortly after adding the pilaster to the wall, I have to use a brush that is got a lot of water in it, and brush away the excess glue. So to combat this, I changed from adding the glue to the back of the pilaster and applying it directly to the wall, so that it'd have less of the squeeze out, and also it helped to make the pilasters glued to the sections of wall that were glued together. There was a little divot or something that was on top of the wall, and I couldn't really sand it away because there was so much detail around it. Just the lack of proper tools, I guess, Moving on, there is a decorative strip that goes along the wall just under the soffit. Just at the top of the main wall, just before the roof starts, there's a decorative strip, and the pilasters are sized to go straight up to the top of the wall, and we can't have that because the two parts interfere with each other. Well, remember I was talking about the ghosts in the kit design? This is one of them. So I have to cut those pilasters off, and then I'm going to add glue directly to the wall once again, so that the decorative strip can be glued on as good as possible. This is going to add a lot of squeeze out because I'm adding a lot of glue, but I want these strips to be strong, as they actually go above the wall about 1/8 of an inch. I don't know if the design was off or there was a planned piece of wood that was supposed to go in behind the decorative trim on top of the wall, for strength, or a roof line, to make a separation between the roof and the main building. But obviously it was a good idea to nix the idea, because when you remove the roof at this time, you can see the insides of the top wall, of the top floor. So guys, that's gonna close out today's video. I just hope you liked it today. A lot of info, a lot of past things gone wrong, and the lessons I've learned along the way, kind of things going on in this video. I wanted to once again thanks Gare de Gill for joining us. I'm gonna come out with a video soon about the benefits of Patreon, because I'm gonna up that the ante a little bit. I'm gonna restart the Discord server so that we can chat at any time, and being a part of the Patreon community gives you access to that. So hope you're doing well in your part of the world tonight, and I certainly am here. Thanks for watching, and thank you for coming back time and time again. Thank you. Thank you to the Patreon patrons too. You guys are cool too. Bye bye.